Well, this is the left for you in a nutshell. It's all about projection with them. Everything they accuse their opponents of, they're guilty of themselves.
Yeah.
So when they talk about the other side being full of hate, intolerant, closed-minded, no. That's how they are, and you see it in how little tolerance they have for even family members who vote differently to them. You see it in the absolute meltdowns we have seen from people in the media to just everyday people filming themselves having tantrums because Donald Trump won. They are completely in an echo chamber and they cannot accept. You look at the excuses and I tell you, the Republicans can only hope that their opponents remain as dumb as they are right now, because if you look at so much of the commentary in the US media, they're blaming racism, they're blaming sexism,
I know, they're still sticking to it.
They're blaming misinformation, they're doing everything other than actually looking at why they were rejected so forcefully. And think about this, and this is something that's not been talked about enough. Kamala Harris had a war chest of $1 billion. She outspent Trump 3 to 1, if not more. If Trump had that sort of money, it would have been a red wave that would have covered the entire country, including California. That is the fact that you could squander that sort of an advantage, all the good publicity you're getting from the media whilst Trump's just being slammed day after day and still losing a landslide.
But it's also, James, I'll come to you in a second.
Can I jump in on that there?
Sure, go ahead.
We've just had some revelations about who that money has gone to.
Yeah.
I've seen one list of filings. Apparently, Harpo Productions, which is Oprah Winfrey, got $1 million.
Yes.
$1 million. There are campaign consultants who got paid hundreds of millions of dollars. They spent $100,000 to recreate the set of Call Me Daddy for that podcast she went on to do it in a hotel room. These people were not serious about looking after their money. You can only imagine what they do with the U.S. budget. But, I mean, you can only imagine the number of campaign consultants who now have, like, yachts and weekend houses thanks to this campaign.
But I'd pick up, absolutely, but I'd pick up on the point, yes, of course, money is so important and all these other things, the media and so on in politics. But people kept asking me, even only a couple of weeks ago, why are you so certain that Donald Trump is going to win this election, let alone in a landslide? And my answer was always the same, because I trust the good intelligence and decency of the American people, as I do the Australian people, and that good will always triumph over evil. And I'm sorry, it sounds hyperbolic. Maybe I give myself a hyperbole award, but this is a pivotal moment in Western civilization where the goodness of Western civilization has triumphed over the evil that has been festering and growing up underneath it. And this is an absolutely critical line in the sand. We're now saying that this must stop. And it's critical for politicians, particularly like the coalition, to understand why Donald Trump won. And it wasn't about money and it wasn't about polling figures. It was about the truth and authenticity.
And it was about standing for something and showing courage.
Values.
And that's what I'm going to be talking about after the break, about the personal price he was willing to pay to run again. But you talk about this changing things for the West, because there is a civilizational war. There are anti-West forces at work
within and without,
in the West and outside of the West. And this is a really bright period that's going to come, not just for the US, but
golden
for the West,
age.
because you've got Trump 4 more years, but then you look at the talent pool that the Republicans have, young talent, Vivek Ramaswamy, J.D. Vance, Ron DeSantis, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. They've got talent, capable people who are electable. And that is could be a dynasty of Republican leadership that could completely
100%.
Transform the country for the better.
James, I said to some young kids the other day, you don't know how lucky you are. You're at the dawn of a great decade ahead of you, as we were in previous decades, which we all benefited from. And this generation now of youth who did so much to win the vote for Trump, they're now looking at a glorious period of prosperity and values that it's so exciting for them, James.
And you know what? All I can do is urge Australia to get on board. You see where the United States is going. When you're here, you can feel it. And, you see things. You see Elon Musk's development of space technology. Space technology that no other country can compete with, no other company can compete with. You see what they're doing with data, tech, energy, AI, small nuclear reactors to power AI, data, all of the stuff that's going to power this next coming century. Australia needs to get on board. And this is my concern for Australian youth, is that they're going to be left behind because Australia isn't on board with all of these things that are going to define the next 100 years. And we need to get on board urgently.
100%, and that starts with booting out the Albanese government and installing the coalition as urgently as possible, and the coalition learning certain lessons that they need to learn.